Hello, everyone. Susan Silvers here, Center for Marriage Excellence. When a couple goes to seek help, typically from a marriage counselor, well-meaning counselors often give the couple the wrong advice. That's because a lot of counselors are working from an old model that has been proven not to work. They have not updated to focus on what research really tells us about what makes a marriage work. So often the experience of the couple is that they sit on a love seat or a sofa, they face this person who's a relative stranger, and they tell on each other. They talk about the things that they don't like about each other, the things that are making them angry with each other, and that is not where you start when you have a marriage that's in some kind of distress or crisis. The place to start is by rebuilding the foundation of friendship in the marriage. Sorry. so, so you don't want to begin with the conflicts. And in fact, what I recommend some people do sometimes is take a piece of paper and write down all the conflicts they're having, all the issues that they're dealing with, and agree to just fold that paper up, stick it in an envelope, and set it aside for a period of time. And then I help them work on the first four principles for building a strong, solid friendship. Then when we begin to work on their conflicts, they already approach each other differently. It's not as if they're looking at an adversary across the table, but they're sitting together side by side, looking at the problem on the table together and working to solve that problem. And even though we're not going to go into conflict resolution skills right now, there is one thing I do want to tell you about conflict. There are two basic types of conflict. One conflict is solvable, meaning it's situational, it's a specific event that occurred, a specific behavior, something that happened that we can, or is happening, that we can find a definitive solution to. For example, let's say that my husband and I want to walk together, or I want to walk with my husband at night when I get my exercise, and he wants to walk earlier in the day. Okay, this is a situation, and we can find some different ways to do that. Maybe we alternate days, or maybe I decide that instead of walking with my husband, I'll walk with a friend. Again, you have to be careful right now with that. Or maybe my husband decides that we'll split the difference and we'll walk at a time that's a little less convenient for each of us, but it will work for both of us to walk together. But this type of conflict can be solved by a workable compromise. It's kind of a one and you're done with it. You've found a solution, you can move on. The other type of conflict is an ongoing conflict or a recurring conflict. And the reason for that is that the conflict or the issues are rooted in a difference in your core personality, in your core values, or in your lifestyle preferences. And these types of differences need a different approach. They are like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. It is always going to pop up somewhere. So these kinds of issues you have to manage by preventing them from building a great deal of resentment in your relationship that then leads to emotional disconnection or distance, finally loneliness in the marriage, and then leading parallel lives where you're not really connected at all, you're just going through the motions, or where one of you or both of you chooses to have an affair and end the marriage. That sounded very dramatic, but it can be very dramatic. But what you're looking to do when you have a recurring conflict is to learn how to manage it. The same way you might manage a shoulder injury or a trick knee or something that you have to find a way to live with without it completely disabling you and keeping you from going on in life. So that's just kind of a brief introduction to the difference in the two types of problems. The way that you approach them obviously is different, and we'll get into those in a future teaching or future message. But for right now, I want you to understand that more than 2/3 of the problems you face in marriage, 69% of them, are going to be recurring or ongoing conflicts. Only 31% have a definitive solution. So it's important to be able to distinguish the two and then to know how to deal with them. And we'll look at that in a future recording. Take care. Bye.